thorough, discreet investigation. They have made useful statements to the police as to how they came about the Beretta pistol, which actually is a prohibited firearm. And we are working on this lead to ensure that we bring the sponsors of these persons to justice.
According to him, while the Special Weapons and Tactics SWAT team of the command was patrolling the town to monitor the State Congress of the All Progressives Congress, an unregistered Hilux vehicle was sighted with some people whose looks were suspicious. One English Beretta pistol with breech number PT92AFS and 5 live ammunition and locally fabricated revolver pistol were recovered in the vehicle. Also arrested were Mohammed Bentua and Aminu Ibrahim for kidnapping in both the Olude area of Abeokuta, Mohammed Abubakar and Clinton Lynche for kidnapping in Agbara, while Olagoke Dari and Idowu Tunde were arrested for robbery.
On the 8th of October 2021, 3 teenagers ranging between the ages of 17 and 19, they were arrested in Ogere, where they had gone to sell a motorcycle, which they had earlier snatched, after hacking the owner to death in the most gruesome manner.
CP Bankole urged Ogun State people not to hesitate in notifying the police anytime strange faces and gatherings are noticed in their area.
As a way of celebrating brilliancy and encouraging more hardworking students, Ogun State government has honored the winners of 2021 Nigerian Institute of Physics National Quiz Competition and Mathematical Association of Nigerian National Olympiad and Quiz Competition for their excellent performances. The Commissioner for Education, Science and Technology, Professor Abayomi Arigbabu, while receiving the state representatives, said that with the intervention of the present administration in education sector, the future of the learners in the state is secured, saying the excellent performance of the learners was a reflection of the commitment of the government towards education sector. Professor Arigbabu charged them not to rest on their ears, but to continue to put in more effort in order to win more laurels.
And for me, I would say that I'm really very pleased to receive these stars, who have done us proud by winning at the national competition. Done excellently well in mathematics competition and then in physics. Well, this is something that is actually a reflection of the commitment of this administration to improving performance in all ramifications, and particularly in science and technology.
Commended the Mathematical Association of Nigeria, Ogun State branch, for their unrelenting efforts, which has translated into producing excellent students, encouraging them to intensify their efforts and keep the flag flying. Earlier in his remarks, the Director of Education, Department of Science and Technology, Mr. Samson Ogunpola, proceeded that it is good to support learners to go for competitions, submitting that they will face challenges that will enable them to prove their worth and make them excel among their colleagues. Speaking on behalf of the other winners, Toluwanimi Aladebola, Elijah Alao, and Bolahon Azim, students of Ambassadors College, Ota, Tide Up College, and African Church Grammar School, Abeokuta, appreciated the government for the opportunity to represent the state, urging other learners to always put in their efforts in whatsoever they do. Still on education, the Ogun State Commissioner for Education, Science and Technology, Professor Abayomi Arigbabu, has called on stakeholders in the education sector to support the present administration in the state to enhance its free education program. Professor Aribabu said this during the commissioning and handing over of a block of 3 classrooms, 2 toilets, 1 office facility, and a store donated by Olutobi Nathaniel Oduyale Foundation to St. Barnabas Primary School, Ilishon. Professor Aribabu, who commended the donor for the project, described it as a giant stride capable of securing the future of young learners, saying, giving back to the alma mater is in tandem with the Building a Future Together agenda of the present administration in the state.
We have said that individuals and public spiritual individuals and corporate bodies and organizations will actually also support the efforts of government making our schools better than it is presently, and that's why we appreciate the contribution of Mr. Oduyale for doing this. So it is also an opportunity for us to also call on other well-meaning individuals that want to contribute to the development of education, just as the government is doing. We also want to encourage them to also participate.
And that was the State Commissioner for Education, Science and Technology, Professor Abayomi Aribabu. All primary and secondary schools, as well as government science and technical colleges in Ogun State, have been directed away from education. The Ogun State House of Assembly has called on ministries handling ongoing reconstruction of school building in some parts of Ogun West Senatorial District to speed up work to allow the pupils have smooth academic session. The Speaker, Honorable Olakunle Olomo, while reacting to the submission of Honorable Haruna Wahab, representing Yewa North 2, under personal explanation, particularly mentioned Yewa North Local Government Primary School and Community Primary School, Ibola in Ijon.
The Chairman of Committee on Education is here, the Chairman of Committee on Housing is here, and I recall that the 2 committees, the commissioners are working together on those schools. If you see something in the newspaper, well, it may not be authentic, they may just carry any picture and put anywhere, or they can do mistake of labeling. But then, let the committee involved intervene, and I hope that we shall get results.
Speaker also enjoined the Minister of Works and Infrastructure to begin massive road reconstruction and rehabilitation where necessary in all parts of the state immediately the rain subsides. Speaking earlier, Honorable Haruna Wahab had called on the Speaker to intervene so that the pupils of the affected schools would enjoy better learning conditions, as there is no classroom for them currently to continue their academic activities. Minister of Works to help rehabilitate roads in his constituency, which according to him were all impassable, which made him resort to using motorcycle as a means of transportation whenever he visited his constituency. More reactions have been trailing the reintroduction of BUSARY into the nation's tertiary institutions. According to some respondents who spoke with OGTV News, regular BUSARY allocation to students will reposition the nation's education sector and bring out the best in the students. Gbenga Adekoya gathered the reports, which is presented in this package.
Financial assistance is a necessity for many college students, particularly those planning careers that require many years of education beyond the undergraduate level. It is on this premise that the federal government of Nigeria is reintroducing BUSARY allowance into the universities and colleges of education across the country.
Government always means well, and we should support government whichever way it is. Eventually, the time will come, it will go, and you will have your opportunity to change whatever they've done that is not to your liking. But whatever government does, it's good for the people. Some of them good, some of them bad.
Despite the fact that the federal government made it known that the beneficiaries must attend public institutions only and sign a bond to serve their state for 5 years on graduation, people described it as a welcome development that will again make education more attractive for the teeming youth.
It's a welcome development because for sure this will attract best brain into education. There are a lot of students out there that morally and intellectually they are sound, but because of the economic situation in Nigeria, they could not afford even going to any, not to talk of education. So now that they have that incentive, I believe that this will add more and will motivate best brain into education sector.
For Mr. Hepzibah Oyedeji, a graduate of College of Education who is now a teacher, the fund would cushion economic effect on the student, particularly indigent ones.
So we education students need more than just the basics being offered in classes. And this bursary would make that available. At least they will be able to get more materials that they need. Sometimes you need to compare 2-3 textbooks to really get what is being talked about. Beyond that, it is a jet age, it is an internet age. We all need internet. And who are the ones that really need internet, if not this, the ones that are being trained to train and mold minds?
Respondents lauded the initiative of the federal government calling for proper implementation. The proposed amount for university students studying education is 150,000 naira, while the students of colleges of education will be smiling home annually with 100,000 naira.
Still ahead, federal government said
the state has been on the front burner in the vaccination exercise. However, the need to curtail the spread is very much important, reason why public were grouped for the purpose of adhering to COVID-19 safety protocols. This is against the claim by some individuals that people are left unattended to. Recipients of the vaccine said the exercise is going peacefully and enjoined members of the public to be patient with the process.
It's good and accommodating, it's good, and the vaccine is not painful the way people used to talk about it. The best thing, everybody should come on time. That's the only thing I see. The way when you come is when they are going to attend to you. If you come late, you need to wait. So people should come and take it. It's real, it's good.
To me, people are being attended to. Just that some people are impatient and some are in order. So some are impatient, but the process is okay and very smooth. The staff are very okay and they are really attending to people, and they are very humble and okay.
At least, as you can see, the exercise has been going on so smoothly and very, very lovely as well. As a matter of fact, this is my first time here, and I came here about an hour ago, and just now I received my own vaccine.
Though the vaccine is important to minimize the effects of coronavirus in case of contraction, but the public is advised to ensure strict adherence to safety protocols. Non-recipients are enjoined to take the vaccine as it is safe with no side effects. Ayodeji Olumi, OGTV News.
the federal government on Monday said it will develop policies to promote effective menstrual health and hygiene management in the country. Deputy Director, Child Development Department of the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs, Ali Madugu, said this at a one-day meeting to develop information, education, and communication materials on menstrual health and hygiene management in Abuja. According to him, the development of policies and IEC materials are to support advocacy of menstrual health and hygiene management to ministries, departments, and agencies, as well as to women and girls at the grassroots. She said this was imperative due to the low level of awareness on menstrual health and hygiene management, which had contributed greatly to the growing stigma and misconceptions related to menstruation, especially restriction from social activities. President Muhammadu Buhari has advised the media to address the tone, content, and standards of reporting into security and safety measures. In a statement signed by the Senior Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, on Monday, Buhari said the term rising insecurity should be replaced with the reality of declining insecurity. The President urges Muslims to strive for forgiveness and closeness to the noble life and teachings of the Prophet, whose birthday is being marked. The President uses the occasion to give a snapshot of the increased activities the armed forces, police force, and intelligence agencies have embarked upon to effectively respond to the security challenges in the nation. He says the government fully expects and intends for these trends to continue and calls on the media to address the tone, content, and standards of reporting into security and safety measures. Time has come to revise the prefixes rising insecurity with declining insecurity, he says. The President adds that increased cooperation and collaboration from the citizenry, coupled with reinvigorated, dynamic, and energized police, security, and military leadership, is helping the administration score more victories against terror, criminality, and economic sabotage. The reality of declining insecurity should replace the inaccurate narrative of rising insecurity in the country. The President concluded his message by appealing to road users to drive with care and avoid needless accidents. The President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, has congratulated Muslims on the occasion of the Eid al-Mawlud, which commemorates the birth of the Islamic prophet Muhammad. Lawan, in a statement on Monday by his special advisor on media, Ola Awoniyi, said the occasion should remind Muslims and all people of faith of the virtues of peaceful coexistence, love, and tolerance as taught and lived by the Holy Prophet. The federal government and the National Assembly will continue to work assiduously to create the enabling environment for peaceful coexistence and prosperity in Nigeria, Lawan said. The Senate President reminded those celebrating to continue to observe the COVID-19 health protocols during and after the celebration. He also called for prayers and support for law enforcement and security forces in the valiant and patriotic effort to protect the citizens. A federal high court in Abuja has scheduled judgment for December 20 in a suit challenging the validity of the governorship primary held by the All Progressives Congress in Anambra State on June 26, 2021. The primary produced Andy Uba as the candidate of the APC for the November 6 governorship election, a position one of the party's governorship aspirants, George Mugalu, is challenging in his suit. Justice Iyang Ekwo, after entertaining final submissions from lawyers to parties in the case on Monday, said it would deliver judgment on December 20, but that they will be notified if the judgment becomes ready before then. Plaintiff's lawyer, Chris Uche, SAN, said the grievance of his client was that the primary, which purportedly produced Uba as APC's candidate for the Anambra governorship election, was not conducted in compliance with the Electoral Act and the APC guidelines for the conduct of primary. Uche referred to documents including a report by officials of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, where it was said that the primary did not hold up till 5:30 in the evening when they left the venue to support his client's claim that the APC did not hold a valid primary in Anambra State. 30-year-old Shafiu Alayande has been arraigned before a magistrate court sitting in Ishabo, Abeokuta, Ogun State. The defendant was said to have allegedly stolen iron doors and burglary windows belonging to Haruna Akoni, Kabiru Shobayo, and Ismail Akanu. According to the prosecutor, ASP Olakunle Shonibare, the act is contrary and punishable under the Criminal Code laws of Ogun State under Section 390, subsection 9. Elizabeth Eson covered the court sitting. Her report.
Sometime in the month of August 2021, at about 10 in the morning at Shoyoye area of Abeokuta, under Abeokuta Magisterial District, Shefiu Alayande was accused of stealing 2 iron doors and 4 iron burglary windows valued at 180,000 naira, belonging to Aruna Akoni, Ismail Akoni, and Kabiru Shobayo. These acts, contrary to the Criminal Code laws of Ogun State, led to the suspect's arraignment before the senior magistrate Olajumoke Shomefun of Magistrate Court 3, Ishabo Abeokuta. The defendant pleaded not guilty to the charge, and sequel to this, the presiding magistrate commenced the trial as the prosecutor of the case, ASP Olakunle Shonibare, presented to the court 4 witnesses, including the investigating police officer, Woman Inspector Nofisat Aino. During the trial, it was established that the defendant, who was a welder, was approached by one John Oladokun in his workshop to make 2 iron doors and 6 burglary windows at the rate of 83,000 naira. The complainant, John Oladokun, said the sum of 80,000 naira was paid to the defendant since last year. In August 2021, the complainant took delivery of the 2 iron doors and 4 burglary windows, which, according to the prosecutor, was said to have been stolen from 3 different workshops belonging to Kabiru Shobayo, Ismail Akoni, and Aruna Akoni. After a cross-examination of the prosecuting witnesses, bail was granted to the defendant by the presiding magistrate, Senior Magistrate Olajumoke Shomefun, in the sum of 150,000 naira, with 2 sureties in like sum, and the trial adjourned for continuation till 5th November 2021. Elizabeth Tesson, OGTV News.
Up next is business news with Adebola Oshomoji after this short break. Welcome to the business segment of the news. The African Export-Import Bank, Afreximbank, has charged the Nigerian government to mobilize its public and private sectors to harness economic opportunities in the forthcoming Intra-African Trade Fair, IATF. Dr. George Elombi, Executive Vice President, Corporate Governance and Legal Services, Afreximbank, gave the charge on Monday in Lagos. The IATF was conceived by the board and management of Afreximbank in collaboration with the African Union Commission, AUC, to promote trade and investment within the continent. Elombi said the IATF is expected to generate more than $40 billion in trade and investment deals, an opportunity beneficial to the economy, to the Nigerian economy. He revealed that the IATF will also attract over 1,000 exhibitors, about 10,000 visitors, buyers, and conference participants from all 55 African countries and the world. To date, there are about 600 signed-up exhibitors out of a target of about 1,100 exhibitors. This constitutes 55% overall uptake of IATF 2021 exhibition space. The number of signed-up Nigerian exhibitors is still low, and call on business communities and the public sector to take up exhibition spaces to ensure that Nigeria is fully represented at IATF 2021, he said. The Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Otumba Adeniyi Adebayo, said that the IATF fell squarely within the country's market access goal of taking deliberate steps to take Nigerian products and services to Africa. Rural electrification is to get the highest capital investment from the federal government in the power sector in 2022,
as 104.64 billion naira has been appropriated for it. An analysis of the 2022 appropriation bill that was presented to the National Assembly recently shows that the government plans to spend more in providing electricity in rural areas than in other arms of the power chain next year. In the bill, the government appropriated 104.18 billion naira for capital projects under the Transmission Company of Nigeria, while 74.23 billion naira was budgeted for projects to be handled by the headquarters of the Federal Ministry of Power, Electricity, Transmission, unlike the distribution and generation segments of the industry, is still under the control of the federal government and is being managed by the TCN. Power generation and distribution companies generate and distribute electricity respectively, as the firms handling these functions were officially privatized in November 2013 out of the total allocation of 301.26 billion naira for the Federal Ministry of Power in the 2022 budget. The sum of 4.87 billion naira, 1.36 billion naira, and 294.99 billion naira were appropriated for personnel, overhead, and capital projects, respectively. Facebook has announced plans to employ 10,000 people in the European Union over the next 5 years. It said the move will enable the company to build a metaverse, a virtual reality version of the internet that the company sees as the future, where people can use different devices to more and communicate in a virtual environment. The company announced on Monday that the investment is a vote of confidence in the strength of the European tech industry and the potential of European tech talent. Experts across the insurance and pension industries have been advised to explore opportunities created by the COVID-19 pandemic to grow the two sectors and contribute maximally to the national economy. Insurance penetration has remained at an average of 0.4% of GDP. Nigerian stocks are witnessing a buoyancy not seen for a long time and have so far returned 2.9% or 613.6 billion naira, an affirmation of increasing local investors' confidence at a time the market is short of foreign investors' cash. And that was business news. Back to Moji.